Okay, welcome to the Greenfoot training videos. In this first video, we're going to have a look at how we start a Greenfoot project and also a little bit about the interface. So to start with, um, make a Greenfoot folder in your My Documents. So I've got one already set up that I'm going to be using. Let's just delete. Um, and what we're going to put in here are some scenarios. So a scenario is a project from Greenfoot. So to get the projects we're going to be working with, we go to Pupil ICT, Greenfoot, and then copy the folder called Scenarios. Once it's copied over, in there you'll have two folders, one called Wombats, one called Modern Crab. Wombats is a mostly finished project, which we're going to be using in this first tutorial to have a look at the Greenfoot interface. To open Greenfoot and the Wombats project, double click, and then open up the one called Project. You could also do it by opening Greenfoot through the Start menu and then going to File Open and navigating to the project. So this is the Greenfoot interface. Greenfoot is a development environment in which you get to use Java to create visual and mainly games, but could also be animations. It's a step on from scratch because rather than dragging and dropping code, you actually end up writing your own code. So to start with, when we load up a project, you'll see that over on the right hand side we've got some boxes with some grey lines through them. And what we need to do is we need to click compile. This creates a world for us. So our different sections of the screen are, we have this bit here, which is the world, and this is where all our visual happiness happens. Over on the right hand side, we have our classes. These are the groups of code that make things happen on the world. And at the moment, you can see that we have a world class, so there's some code which makes our world appear and have a background. And then we've got these things called actors, which are people who are in the world and act on the world. We then have at the bottom some controls for executing commands. So, and we'll come to them in a little bit. So to start with, on the right hand side, we have different actors. So this game is a wombat simulator, and as everyone clearly knows, wombats like to eat leaves. So this game is about a wombat roaming around the world trying to eat a leaf. To add a wombat to the world, all you need to do is right click and say new wombat. You've then got a wombat underneath your mouse and you can place him somewhere in the world. So a wombat has some code um, already pre-built for him. We're not going to look at it now, but we need to know how to actually make our actors do stuff once they're in the world. So this wombat's got some code which makes him move forward, and I can make him do that by coming down to my controls at the bottom and saying act. And it will do one action that the wombat has to do. So if I keep pressing it, he moves around the screen. This wombat's been told to keep moving forward until he meets the edge, and when he does meet the edge, turn left. So eventually he just keeps going around in a big circle, like so. Pressing act is a little bit boring, so if you want to just make it run normally, you can just hit run, and then it will keep on going until you tell it to stop. So all a wombat wants to do is eat leaves. So what I can do is I can add a leaf to the game. So I can right click, get a new leaf, and place it on. So now if I hit run, wombat's going to come along and he ate a leaf. Yay. Um, so you can see here that actors can interact with each other, and in this case the wombat's action is to eat leaves. The wombat has some lots of actions, and you can see what they are by right clicking on the wombat, and you can see all the different actions that he has. So you can see that it says void act, and if I click it, he acts once, which is he moves. we can see here that this one's called Boolean can move. So a Boolean is a data type which can be true or false. So this basically works out, can he move, yes or no. At the moment, if I click it, it tells me that yes, it's true, he can move, and I can close that. If we move him to the edge, so let's keep moving, and I say Boolean can move, it's false. So I can right click and I can do all the different actions. There's one here that says int get leaves eaten. So if I press that, an int is a whole number. So I imagine that this is going to tell me how many leaves he's eaten as a whole number. So if I press that, it's told me that this wombat has eaten 1 leaf, which is quite nice to know. So our actors, we can add as many actors as we want to the world. So I can keep right clicking and saying new actor, new wombat. And if I run, they all run at the same time, and they're now running around the world. It's quite time consuming to keep on pressing new world sometimes. So another way of adding an actor to a world is by clicking on him, and then when your mouse is on the world, press shift, and then you can place a wombat. So, and then I can click run. If I want to speed up the world, make it go really fast, I can with the slider here. If I want to add some leaves, I can't add it whilst it's running. I have to pause and then add again. And now I can run. If I want to get rid of everything from the world, I just hit reset and everything disappears. The world has some methods as well. So if I right click on the world, I can see here that I can do two things. I can populate and I can random leaves, and it says int how many. So this one here, this says random leaves int how many. The bit between the brackets is known as a parameter. So I'm going to have to give it some data. And I know I'm going to have to give it a number because int is a whole number. How many leads me to believe that it's going to ask me for how many leaves. So I can click on it. And I can see here it's asking me for how many. So I'm going to add 5 and click OK. And you can see it's added 5 leaves. If you try clicking on the populate, it does the same, add some wombats, add some leaves, and I can click run. And you can see the 2 wombats merrily go along, eating all the leaves that they've come across on their travels. So that's the main thing about Greenfoot. We have our world, our classes, and our actions. In the next scenario, we're going to get into the grittiness of programming. So that's the fun bits. So watch the next video when you're ready.